now I'm starting this thing right back where I left off, so I know where the fuck I left off. Whereas last time I started it actually a day or two later. Yeah, video 1 and video 2 are like a day or two apart. But my Dodge Intrepid, we bought it from, or my father bought it from a car lot, or actually not from a car lot. We went to a lot of different places, and nowhere had a vehicle that would match my father's price range, because he said, "You've been through 3 vehicles. I'm not buying you another one. If you fry this one, you're fucked, because we are not getting you another car." So I was like, okay, I will do whatever I can to keep this vehicle, because otherwise I'll be fucked unless I can pay for myself. So I had my Dodge Intrepid, and it was working out fine for a good while, good year, 2 years, something like that. And I was living back in Bellevue, and my starter on the Dodge Intrepid was having issues, electrical issues all over again with the starter. Tried to do the plier trick, and that didn't work very well, because I learned that, hey, if you do that too many times, it'll fry your engine. But I just figured, hey, if I do it once every now and then, it shouldn't be too bad. But there's no terminals inside of the Dodge Intrepid's engine that match the same configuration as the ones inside of the Explorer, so I didn't do that. Whenever it had it, okay, at that time I was going through relationship issues with the girl that I lived in Bellevue, so I dumped her, and I lived in the Dodge Intrepid for, let's say, 4 months. It may have been longer, it may have been less. I'm not going to specify whether it was longer or less, in case my parents someday listen to this. I lived out of my car due to choice, personal pride, that I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18. My mom was literally pulling in the garage one way, I was pulling out of the driveway at the same time. There was no, I'm leaving, hello, goodbye. There was just, see you later, bye. And all of my shit is gone. So, obviously, my parents show no hard feelings for that, because I'm living back in their house right now. In fact, my mom is always overjoyed when I come to visit, let alone the fact that I am 23 and living with my parents. I'm not terribly too thrilled with that, but things are as they must be. But, okay, I was living out of my car for a period of 4 or so months. At that time, I was working both Blockbuster in Bellevue and the Subway in Bellevue. And living out of your car, working 2 jobs, is a little bit difficult, especially when your car doesn't want to start. So sometimes, specifically, I would park in a parking lot in between the 2 jobs, and I would have to walk in between the 2 jobs, and then when I made it back to my car, I would just sleep in my car. There was many times I would sleep in the parking lot of Walmart, parking lot of Kmart, parking lot of the Blockbuster, and the parking lot of the Subway that I worked at. And would just wake up the next morning, oh, I didn't have to work this morning? Oh, no problem then, just whatever. But don't worry, if you're wondering, for a period of 4 months, did Tim bathe? Yes, I did. I had plenty of friends of mine that would let me come over every day, every other day, whenever they would allow me to, and use the facilities, so to speak. I had another friend that lived off the baseline at this time that would specifically let me live in their garage. And one night I closed at Subway in Bellevue, and when you close at a Subway, you are the only person at that Subway. When you close the lock on the door, you drop the key into a little slot in which you have no access to unless you are the opening manager. So once you are closed and locked up, you cannot re-enter the store without setting off the alarm. One day I was parked outside of the subway. I accidentally locked my phone inside of the subway, and my car wouldn't start. So I needed to get back to the place that I was currently living, which was my friend's garage. So instead of, just sleeping in my car and saying, fuck it, I'll deal with it tomorrow like I normally do, I walked over to a friend's house in Bellevue. I got on their Facebook because they allowed me to, and I wrote a message to my friend, and I said, hey, I will meet you there whenever the fuck I get there. I am going to start walking. So several hours, maybe 2 hours go by. An hour goes by with me waiting at my friend's house just to see what happens. And another hour or so goes by with me walking down Baseline. I made it about, I want to say halfway to my destination down Baseline before they finally came and picked me up. That car got fixed, got a new starter, got some new spark plugs, and it ran fine for another year or two. Drove me all the way to Miami without any problems whatsoever. I lived with it in Miami for several years, and then it decided to fuck up on me again, and it started having the same electrical issues, so much to the point to where before it was just starter. When you turn the key, it would crank, and it wouldn't turn on. And when I was in Miami, it was having further electrical issues to where you would turn the key and not even the dashboard lights would come on, and then you would replace the battery, turn the key, nothing would happen. The whole electrical system in that car fried itself. So I sold it to a junker again. Unfortunately, I think I left a few personal effects in the car due to the fact that at one point I was sleeping in the car, so I left a lot of personal things in the car by accident. So there's a handful of things from those days that I don't know where the hell they are because I think they disappeared with that car. But when I got rid of that car, I was using... when I was living in Miami, I had a girlfriend, obviously, living there for a reason. Her parents, her mom, her dad, and herself all had their own vehicles, and they would let me drive their vehicles to and from work. And it worked out very well because I had work at night, and my girlfriend had school during the day, so I would drive her car at night, and she would get her car back during the day. So it worked out actually pretty well. And then, they all decided, hey, either he needs to start helping out pay car insurance, or he needs to get his own car. And so, I thought, well, I really need to get my own car. So I talked to my parents about it just because. And my dad, when my mom originally bought her car, she bought it in the idea of eventually giving it to me. And, I was too naive at that point to really care what vehicle my mom purchased. But the vehicle of choice was the Suzuki Vitara. And that is the one that I currently drive, and there's been some interesting things in that vehicle as well. Looks like it's going to be a 4-parter because I'm already at 9 minutes, so I will probably have to do the Suzuki story another time.